Hi to all of you on this glorious weekend. It's so pretty outside. I just got off my trapeze. We had a game early this morning. I had to be up early to get Chase to his game, soccer game. And then we made some errands and came home, and so now I'm kind of winding down, and I wanted to hop on and share something that came to me when I was on my trapeze just a few minutes ago. And it's almost always without fail, whether meditation, it's either meditation or being on my trapeze is when, because being on my trapeze mostly is kind of a form of meditation. So I feel like I can really loosen my mind and think about, is there something that wants to come through from spirit? Is there a message that needs to be created through my channel? And so I did have a message for you guys today. And a lot of times spirit speaks to me through music, or because I'm very artistic. I always have been that way. I've always loved music. I've always sang, danced, mostly sang, and writing is a big one for me, but recently dancing. I've just now allowed myself to start implementing the dancing into my life and being freer with that. But there's a movie that I really love. It's called Dangerous Beauty. It's an older movie. It's from the late 90s. And so basically what happens in the movie is that this man that is from a prominent family, he's rich, he's wealthy, he's got political rank and all that, and he's going to inherit a lot of estate, and he needs to marry well, but he falls in love with this woman. It's based in Italy, Florence, and he falls in love with this woman that is just a basic, human being. She doesn't have a lot. She comes from a basic second class family. I guess you could term it that in those days, second class family. But he falls in love with her, but they can't get married because, and it was the usual thing back then. Marriage back then was very much about, and even to this day, I mean, it still kind of holds true to a certain extent, but not as much as it was back then. You didn't do that back in those days. You didn't marry below your station in those days. And I would encourage you guys to watch that movie, by the way, because it's a very beautiful movie. And I've watched it, oh my God, probably 100 times. And I'm not kidding. Like, I love that movie. I love how they overcome those obstacles to be together. By the end of the movie, you see that, and it is based on a true love story. But there is a message in this video that I wanted to get to based on the movie. So he can't marry, so basically going back, he can't marry her because of his station, so he has to marry someone else, and he does. But he can't, he can't go back on his love for her. Like, he just can't stop loving her, and which is beautiful to me, because I'm the ultimate romantic, as all of you already, if you watch my channel, you know by now that that is my thing. But the point that I wanted to get to, I'm very much into women's rights, and very much into like, I get disgusted when I see women degraded or women bashed at, because women have so much to offer the world. They have a lot of natural divine power within them. Not to say that men don't. They do. We both do in our own way, masculine versus feminine. But and it can go either way if you're you know, you know, if you know what I mean. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that we we all have the capacity to be the loving people that we were meant to be. And back then it wasn't possible for women to do that. We came in with a lot of love into the incarnation. We came in with a lot of um, I've studied I've studied women in the past, you know, like the witchcraft stories and all of that stuff. And um, I'm trying to be specific here, but I have really done my research around all of that, and um, especially surrounding religion. And it really grosses me out. Like, it really just makes me sick into my stomach, and it makes me pissed because I'm like, women have held so much space for humanity and so much love for humanity. And then for people to go in and to spit upon them and hang them or burn them to death, or to, and not to say that there isn't evil women. I'm sure, I know there are. I mean, you can't, there are, of course there are. But you, nowadays, I think we have a better realization of what went on back then. I think we're more evolved than that now. I think we still have a ways to go in treating women with proper, with equanimity, you know. But we've come a long way, and um, but the beauty of that movie is that he was someone of very, he was very prominent in his society. He was a political diplomat, and very his family was very renowned, and he stood up for her, and he loved her through all of it. And she got jailed, and was sentenced to death by hanging, because there was like a famine going on there was a famine going on, and they blamed it on God's wrath. You know, they projected that onto God, of course. You know, God is mad because we've got witchcraft, and we've got women being promiscuous or whatever it was, even though the men were probably worse than the women in that department. It's just so stupid, in my opinion. It just doesn't even make sense to me. But this is my history nerdiness coming out in me. I love that stuff. But I'm using it as a reference point because I want to make a statement. I want to make a message about it. So she's in the jail cell, and her lover comes to her, and he says, you know, just admit that you're a heretic, that you're, you know, whatever it is that they want you to say, because that's what they want you to say in order to save yourself. And she was so strong and stoic, and she said, renounce everything that I was, like everything that I am. She was a poet, and she was, they called her a national asset. And I think that's really funny that they called her a national asset, and then, you know, so many of the men in the city slept with her, and then she gets denounced as this what's the word I'm looking for? Just, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but she was degraded, and she was made to feel that she had nothing to give. And she said at one point, what other choice did you leave me? There was no way for me to make a living. There was no other way open to me. So I had to do what I had to do at the time that I had to do it. And the church just totally shut that down. Totally shut that down. So back to the jail cell scene. So he comes to her because he loves her, and he's like, just tell them what they need to hear, just tell them, they're idiots. They're just playing the game, it's all a game to them. And basically, that's heavily paraphrasing, of course. And she says, if I do that, if I lie to them and tell them I'm a witch and that I've done heresy to, to myself, to the church, whatever, I give them my life, I give them my soul. And this goes back to my previous videos where I talk about living authentically, living from the heart, and not allowing others to define you, and not allowing your ego to define you, even. That you are a unique soul created to come here to do what you were meant to do, and you are made of love. You were created for love, and underneath it all, we are loving beings. The only reason we hurt, the only reason we project onto others, the only reason we do anything that we do that's not out of love is because of the traumatization that takes place because of our life experiences. And once we realize that we can overcome that, then we start to head towards love and live more authentically and in the space that we were meant to be held in. And I'm sorry if I didn't explain that movie story good enough. You just have to go and watch it, and I will link it below so you can go and watch some of the clips. It's a beautiful movie, and I feel like I can relate to it. I feel like maybe for those of you who believe in past lives, or if you don't, if you're curious about it, I feel like I might have lived some of that, in a past life. I definitely know I'm an old soul, and I've been around a long time. And so, the shaming of women in the past was terrible. It was terrible. And women have so much beauty and nurturing abilities to offer the world. And it's a shame that so much of history shows that women were not respected, or that they were not appreciated at all. Or, it was different for every... Of course, individual cultures were different. Individual families were different. That wasn't a widespread assumption across the board, of course. But for the most part, in history, we see a lot of women bashing. But this video ultimately isn't about women bashing or history. It's about, like she said in the jail cell when she's talking to her lover, she said, renouncing. If I did that, if I told them, if I announced that I was a heretic, that I was guilty, that I would renounce everything that I ever was, everything that I ever stood up for, everything that's in my soul, my very soul. And that's very beautiful to me. I almost cry every time I watch it, because it's just so beautiful. And it speaks to me, and I feel like if I was in that position, I would do the same thing. I would rather die. Honestly, I'm being serious. Like, I would rather die than to give other people power over me, because we are all autonomous. We are all we have a God-given right to shine our light and to be who we are and to live our authentic selves. We don't need to be in a jail cell. We don't need to be confined or conformed to any certain way. We have a right to express ourselves the way that we are meant to express ourselves. And so that is my ultimate message through the description of the video. And if I still have you here in this video without you clicking off, because that was a horrible representation of dangerous beauty, and then I appreciate you all the more. And if you resonate and like my videos, please like and subscribe to whatever videos, subscribe, and then like any of the videos that you resonate with. And also feel free to comment. I'm always welcome to comments because it helps my channel to grow. So that's my message for today. I'm pretty sure that I screwed up this video, but I'm also tired because I've been up since 6 a.m. So, and been to a soccer game and to lunch, and and also worked out. I'm tired. But anyway, I love you all, and I hope you're having a good weekend. Bye.